Good evening. Works. Welcome to the Zoning Board, Village of Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Please rise for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm used to this. We're used to the virtual. Okay. This is the Village of Woodbury Zoning Board of Appeals. We meet the second Wednesday of every month. Our next meeting will be on October 12th, and I'd like to introduce the board to you this evening. To your far right, we have Mr. Ed De Jesus. Did I say that correctly? Ms. Rachel Bruce, Mr. Craig Brady. I'm Karen Ungerer. Our counsel this evening is Kelly Naughton. Our recording secretary is Jess McLennan, and our videographer is Jeff Saracino. All right, let's look at the agenda. Okay, we have no executive session this evening. Has everyone on the board read the minutes from August 10th?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. New business, we have none. Action on decisions. First one is Southside Oil, Dunkin' Donuts, review decision requesting an interpretation of sections 310-2 and 310-7 and whether adding a drive-through to the existing Dunkin' Donuts is permitted. Said property is located in the LC zoning district at 124 Route 32 in Central Valley, section 226, block 1, lot 80. The decision is as follows. In connection with the properties located at 124 Route 32, Central Valley, New York, the applicant requested an interpretation from the building inspector regarding whether the Dunkin' Donuts was a fast food restaurant or a retail business under the zoning code. The building inspector issued an email dated April 25th, 2022, stating, "My interpretation on this is that on its own, not by creating a drive-through, Dunkin' Donuts is considered fast food as defined within the Village Code, Section 310-2, which reads, a restaurant, drive-in, or fast food is defined as any establishment whose principal business is the sale of foods, frozen desserts, or beverages to the customer in a ready-to-consume state, usually served in paper, plastic, or other disposable containers for consumption within the restaurant building, elsewhere on the premises, or for carry-out for consumption off the premises." The building inspector said, "My reason for this is over the years, Dunkin' Donuts transformed from just a place to get coffee and a donut or bagel to a place where one can purchase a variety of hot sandwiches and wraps prepared on site. The products they sell are made all day long." The board heard arguments from the applicant and members of the public as to what constitutes retail and fast food restaurant. The applicant argued that the definition of retail use included the ability to prepare sandwiches and other food and have up to 14 seats. However, in consideration of the definitions and the code requirement that more restrictive standards govern, the board concluded that the main focus, that is the principal business of the Dunkin' Donuts establishment, was the sale of food and beverages in a ready-to-consume state, not the sale of merchandise. The board determined that, in general, fast food restaurants could be considered a subset of retail use and upheld the building inspector's determination that this was a fast food restaurant under the code. So we don't need to vote on that, correct? Because there's no,
Well, you need to vote on this decision.
because there's nothing on there for it.
Oh, I just didn't put that part in. But you
We
do
do,
need to-
right, that's, I meant,
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
All
I
right.
can provide a second.
Do I have a motion to accept this decision as
I'll
read?
make the motion to accept that decision as read.
And do I have a second? Okay, let's do roll call. Craig?
Aye.
Rachel?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So Dunkin' Donuts is considered a fast food business at this point. Next action on decisions is Woodbury Villas. Review decision requesting a variance for the construction of a clubhouse and related facilities that exceeds the approved impervious surface coverage. Whereas the property was previously permitted to have 38.71% impervious surface coverage, and the applicant is requesting an increase to 47% coverage. Said property is located in the R1A and CCDOD zoning districts at 4 Central Valley line, section 254, block 4, lot 2. And the decision is as follows. As a consequence of the board's discussions, the Zoning Board of Appeals hereby grants the requested area variance described and discussed above to the extent noted above, conditioned upon the applicant having the proper provisions in place to handle the stormwater from the additional impervious area, subject to the planning board's approval, and the applicant receiving all necessary approvals from the planning board and permits from the building department. The board hereby finds that the variance as granted is the minimum variance necessary to preserve and protect the character of the neighborhood. Per A 316-9 of the Village Code, this decision shall expire if a building permit is not obtained by the applicant within 180 days from the date of this decision. The board may extend this time for one additional period of 90 days if such extension is warranted by the particular circumstances. Do I have a motion to accept this decision as written?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we'll take a vote here. Craig?
Aye.
Okay, Rachel?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
I will abstain. Okay. We now have a public hearing for Tina. Public hearing requesting a variance for the construction of a 12 by 20 storage shed in the side yard, whereas pursuant to Section 310-7, properties in the R2A district are required to have a minimum side yard setback of 30 feet, and where pursuant to Section 210-11, accessory buildings may only be permitted in the rear yard. Said property is located in the R2A zoning district at 30 Florence Drive in Central Valley and is known on the Village of Woodbury tax maps as Section 226, Block 1, Lot 85.6. Is the applicant present? Yeah, just in case. Yeah. So basically, you're seeking to put the shed in the side yard because there's a well in the back of the property. There's a septic closer to the front, yeah. And then there's the wetlands that are all around the back, and you have French drains that drain into the back there. So I assume it's going to be on that cement slab that's there already. You have anything else to add? It's a 12 by 20 shed, 10.8 feet tall. Yeah, right. Anything else to add? It's going to be the outside, right, match the outside of the house. Anybody on the board have any questions or concerns?
No.
No? Nothing? Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak to this? That's right. Come on and speak. Okay. Do we want to have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make that motion.
And
I'll second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, yeah, just wait. We're going to finish what's on the agenda, and then we will have a discussion, and then a decision will be made, but it will be a draft decision, which means it's not official until next month when we officially vote on it and it's signed. So you have to wait till next month to get you'll know pretty much unless somebody changes or a few people change their minds. Okay. Right? All righty. Thank you. We do not. I keep putting it aside. We do not have a building inspector's report, so what we will do now is deliberate on the Tina public hearing. Okay, let's go over the 5 questions. The first one is, will the granting of this variance produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create detriment to nearby properties? The applicant says no. Granting of this variance will not produce an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties. This variance will maintain the character of the neighborhood and nearby properties. It will coordinate with the color scheme of the home on the property. Anyone disagree with that? No? Okay.
Agreed.
What was that?
Agreed.
Agreed, okay. Number 2, can the benefit you seek be achieved by some other feasible method other than the variance? The applicant says no. The location of the variance next to the driveway is the best location for what is required of it. Towards the back of the driveway is our septic tank. The back of the property has our well that is usually very wet, and also a lot of wetlands due to French drains from below the home emptying to the back of the property. The property is also graded to have water run towards the back of the property. I agree. I drove by. I could see, where everything was. And then I looked up. Yes. Yeah. So I agree. Anybody disagree?
No, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Number 3, how substantial is the variance that you are requesting? The applicant says it is small. The variance is a 12 by 20 shed that will be used for storage for lawn maintenance and snow blower, as well as garbage and recycle bins. The shed will have matching color scheme to the home on the property. The variance will also be 100 feet away from the street. I disagree. Because the coverage of the shed is more than what's allowed, and it's also in the side yard, which is not allowed. So to me, that's numerically, I guess, is large, but doesn't preclude us from approving or anything. You have something, Ed?
No, I think the location, it's fine because the stuff in the back of the house really can't build back there.
Yeah.
With the wetlands and the septic tanks, all that stuff, so I don't have a problem with this.
Right, but the question on here is, do you feel that this is a substantial variance?
Size-wise, technically it is, but.
That's what I
makes
mean,
sense.
yeah, numerically, yeah.
But it makes sense with the size of the
Right,
property. they
right,
have.
and the look, yeah.
The size of the property they have. It
And the
makes sense to
terrain,
have
yeah.
a big place to put a decent-sized lawnmower and stuff like that.
Anyone else have anything to say?
It's reasonably substantial, but given the circumstances.
Is this right?
it's
Yeah, really.
Reasonable.
I agree that given the circumstances, it's substantial, although I'm curious if there's any, if there's a size, maybe just like a little bit down, that might be able to be a solid compromise that,
I mean, further back in the yard?
No, in terms of the size of the shed, if the company makes smaller, is this the kind of thing that where it's pre-built or they're standard, or they're built standard?
That I don't know, but the 12 feet is the portion that's above.
Got it.
Right, but the
Yes,
question
it would-
ends
Ed's-
up being the height versus
It's
the
the-
side
yeah.
from the 6 feet, the 6 feet
6 feet,
distance.
yeah.
It's not the size of the shed that makes it substantial, right? Kelly?
Yep, yes, 5 feet of the 30.
So the
feet.
height is, it has to be at least half of the height, which would be 5.5, but no less than 6. And then, so it meets that, but it's the 25% that it occupies. And because it's basically 12 feet of the required 30 feet, it ends up being 40%, occupies 40%. So that's the issue. So if it could be, I think Rachel was asking if it,
Could make a smaller shed, is that what
Which,
Yeah, basically.
which then would be like a long, narrow,
right.
I don't know if this-
but I don't know
I don't know
their
if it's
purposes, so.
plans right now.
Sorry?
Oh, no, I was just talking, Karen's asking me a question.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you, was it answered?
I believe so, yes, so thank you.
Okay. Excuse me. Number 4, will the granting of the variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district? The applicant says no. There will be no adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. The variance area does not have any trees or shrubbery that need to be removed. It is a grass area with a retaining wall. I agree.
Yeah, it's agreed.
Makes sense.
Okay. And the last one is the alleged difficulty self-created. The applicant says no. The way the property was built and graded was present when we purchased the home. I think we're all going to disagree on that because you want something that's not allowed, so therefore it's self-created. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, do I have...
Want me to do it?
Oh, yeah, you could do it. Although I memorized it, but go ahead.
No.
No, I want you to do it.
You want to test? Go for it. Do it.
No, you go.
We're going to find out who's going to do it.
All right, do I have a motion to have council draw up a draft decision consistent with the discussion that we just had?
Was that the motion?
Do
You
I have a
made-
motion?
you made the
Okay, I'll
motion.
make a motion that we have Kelly draw up.
To make you say it again.
I know, right, it confused me. Draw up a draft decision consistent with the discussion that we just had.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So next month, we will vote on the decision officially, and then you can put up your shed. It'll still be warm enough. That's for sure. Right, yeah.
Don't say that word,
Or
it's a
the-
swear word.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, too early. Way too early.
It snowed on Halloween once. I wouldn't.
But I think it would be reasonable she'd be able to potentially have it scheduled for delivery immediately after
Yeah, do
next
you,
month.
yeah. Well, you can have it delivered, you just can't put it
No,
in.
yeah,
You might not be able to return it.
delivery equals installation in this instance, yeah, no.
Well, I didn't know they were going to install it.
Wouldn't do that.
These people are coming all the way from Pennsylvania too, so.
All righty. We do not have a building inspector's, oh, we did that already. Sorry, adjournment, unless somebody has something else they want to add. No? I want to, can I ask that for adjourn? Can I poll? Or should I do that after it's adjourned?
Do that in attorney-client stuff first.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Ed, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That was a short meeting.
Kevin would have been proud of you.
Yeah.